Journalistic scavengers, such as Mark Lane, attempt to impugn the motives of these members individually, cast doubts upon the commission's
Getting a lot of phone calls, emails, and my words have been twisted. And I figure if you're going to the internet for information, go and find the right information.
Hello, I'm Glenn Moore. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. For the past 3 months on my YouTube channel, gmore49, I've been doing some interesting research and posting the results of my research for the whole world to see concerning the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Now, before I begin to tell you the scope of my investigation, I would like to point out that I was born about the same time that he was inaugurated and put into office as President of the United States. As they say, well, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you begin to remember things. And I don't remember anything before the age of 3, but I do remember that there was a day in which everyone was sad and there were somber music and pictures on the TV. That I remember. I don't remember anything else going back before then. So in a sense, it was the beginning of my awareness. So yeah, in a sense, this made me who I am. So what I would like to do here is to talk about the technology, in which, by the way, is not new. A lot of other people are doing it. It was introduced many years ago by John David Oates. And it's called reverse speech. That's what he calls it. And of course, he has a trademark on that name. But whatever you call it, whether you call it reverse speech or reversed speech or inverted speech or speech reversals, it is a real phenomenon. It's not fake. It's not some technobabble. Okay? It's not a pseudoscience. It's real. And the reason I say it's real is because I put it to test for myself. I listened to reversals in the past year, and I listened to it several times until I finally could understand and hear what was being said and know how to make the reversals in such a way that you would be able to hear them and understand what these people are saying in reverse. Basically what it amounts to is, with this new understanding, we can go into any situation in which we're not certain if the people speaking to us are being completely honest. And we can listen to what they're saying. We can figure out whether they're telling the truth, how much they're telling is true, and what we should do about it. This is empowering. This is an empowering technology, and I can understand why they go to great lengths to debunk it. And the JFK assassination is a very popular one for reverse speech. There are a lot of reverse speech websites. There's a lot of information regarding reverse speech on the Kennedy assassination. But what I've noticed is while the reversals are true and accurate, they're also incomplete. They don't give a full picture. And I also noticed that certain subjects are not talked about. For instance, the reversals that I'm talking about involve the people that are in the car. John Connally, Jackie Kennedy. I have others regarding Nellie Connally. It would seem that these people are not being touched in the area of reverse speech. And it makes me wonder what's going on. Are these people doing the reverse speech analysis? Are they gatekeepers? Are they there just to titilize us and give us a few little snippets of facts, but not the whole picture, so that we come away thinking, oh, we figured it out, and yet we haven't. The speech reversals that I have demonstrated show clearly not only is John Connally the primary assassin of John F. Kennedy, but he is the instigator. He is the planner. He is the guy in charge. The evidence also shows that Jackie Kennedy was pressured into participating in the assassination. She went along with it. She agreed with it. She had reasons to kill her own husband. And as the Zapruder film evidence shows, and I say this realizing that it has been tampered with, nevertheless there is enough evidence there to show that very likely John Connally and Jackie Kennedy were the primary assassins of John F. Kennedy. Now I'm going to run a brief clip and let you listen to some of the presentation that I made. This is the update to the Connally interview of 1963. As I said here, this is proof that John Connally is not only the primary assassin, but he is the supreme planner of the ambush. And I have the word ambush in quotes for a reason, because that's the word that he uses. He also talks about a bus driver. He talks about questions regarding whether he's hurt or not. So listen, here it is. As I've said, this is not exactly a lie detector, but it tells us what we honestly believe about the world. So it gives us useful insights into someone's true thoughts and desires.
And I knew I'd been hit badly. And I said, I knew the president had been hit, and I said, my God, they're going to kill us all. And then there was a third shot, and the president was hit again. Sure, also, if you look at hologram, the foundation is not. This how not.
Okay, let's stop right here. He means it's a good development. I shot the good man. Oswald will get diagram, meaning he's going to get framed. the best plantation development now. In the United States is the plantation, and this is the best kind of development that you could possibly have. Oh, we found the trigger man, we have a patsy, here he is. And then he says, I shot the man. Then he says something curious, I needn't have done that. He says that because somebody else also shot him. But nevertheless, this is what we hear. Now, I realize that people are going to say, oh, this is that Art Bell stuff, and you don't know that that's what they're really saying. Well, look, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. There are times when it's difficult to understand what they're saying. Sometimes people can, some people can understand it better than others. But if you want to put it to the test, don't look at it. Just listen, and then reverse it and listen again, and listen again until you hear what they're saying. And by the way, here is the problem that I see with the other the other concepts of reverse speech that are out there. They're pulling out a 1 or 2 or 3 word phrase here and there. They're not pulling up complete sentences. These are complete sentences. In some cases, complete paragraphs. What are they missing? Let's listen to the rest of this.
And we thought them very seriously. I had still regained consciousness, but the president had slumped in Miss Kennedy's lap. And when he was hit the second time, she said, or the first time, it all happened in such a brief span, she said, oh my God, they killed my husband. I said, Jack. Han was it han var sie snabbt sie beschlossen har am after sie snabbt has is we know it I was in also to the office since she's talking yeah sure minute of you that.
The ambush meant that my gamble worked. What gamble? He was in the car. He knew that the target was in the car. That was the gamble. He had other people out there shooting at them. He knew that he could get shot. And he apparently did. Maybe. Maybe he was seriously wounded. Maybe he was just a little bit wounded. Maybe he wasn't wounded at all. I don't know. But we're looking at his thoughts here. He tells us that the ambush was planned. That there was multiple people involved, multiple snipers. And it says here, my gamble worked. Meaning that he's the planner, he's the chief coordinator of this attack on John F. Kennedy. It's right here. Now again, if you don't want to believe this, all I'm suggesting is that you listen to it and you don't look at the screen. Don't even look at the screen. Just listen to it and listen to it over and over again until it begins to sink in. Now, I agree that there may be a word or two here that you may disagree with. Maybe you can't hear a certain word that I've put in here in the transcription. Maybe that's not what you hear. But hey, even if half of the stuff that's in here is right, this puts John Connally at the top of the conspiracy. He is the lead man. Let's listen to some more.
Jack. And then After the third shot, the next thing that occurred, I was conscious. The Secret Service man, of course, and after us, he says, louder, and sure, the time.
Joe, who's Joe? Joe who? Joe Blow? No, Joe Kennedy, the father of John F. Kennedy. Joe can answer us in peace at this time. That's what he clearly says. Okay, there's no ambiguity in this. Joe Kennedy can answer us in peace at this time. Who else could he be thinking of except the father of the man he's talking about who was assassinated? Joe Kennedy can answer us in peace at this time because Joe Kennedy evidently knew that his son was to be sacrificed. He may have even warned his son or told his son that his policies were putting him at odds with those in power. But Mr. Kennedy, his son, the president, evidently felt that even regardless of the risk, he had to do what his conscience led him to do. Ladder, clean up, then gone. I don't know if you've seen this before. There's a lot of I think I remember seeing it on the Carol Burnett show where there's a janitor and there's a ladder and there's a bucket of water and a mop. And that's the typical stereotype of the cleanup crew. And here it is. He's talking about a cleanup crew. But he's not talking about cleaning up the floor of the kitchen or the bathroom. He's talking about cleaning up this mess concerning the Kennedy assassination. And then he says plainly, and you listen to this, listen to it several times over. I shot the good man, murdered the man. I didn't imagine that I heard that. That's very clear. That's a very clear reversal. Again, I am stupefied. I'm amazed that for years reverse speech has been out and they've been talking about it. All over the place they're talking about it. Why didn't they get this one? How come they missed this one? And I suggest to you, again, but I suggest to you that most of what is in the alternative media, most of the things that are out there concerning reverse speech are simply controlled opposition. They are DISINFO agents, and their purpose is to deflect you from finding out the real truth. They want you to get a glimmer of the truth. They'll dance around the edges of it, but they'll never take you to the heart of the matter. Don't you think it's important to know who actually did the assassination? Let's listen to some more.
The chauffeur had pulled out of the line. They said, get out of here. On the radios, they said, get us to a hospital immediately. And so we pulled out. You listening? You move it, like this, hurry, like that. That's it now, they're pushing.
Okay. I hope you would snap. He even looked like something the circle made, whatever. Yeah, I understand. I agree. You can't always hear everything that's there. Sometimes there are places where you can't pick up everything. But this last part, very pride, but now I hope to have better ocean. That's a clear reversal. You can hear it very clearly. What is he talking about? Well, he's saying he's very prideful of the fact that, that he did this, and he's hoping that he has a better ocean. Well, what does that mean, a better ocean? Ocean is a universal metaphor that means life. Ocean means life. It's a psychological thing. People use it quite often. I don't have the time to explain it to you now, but it comes up often in speech reversals. He hopes to have a better life because of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. That's what he's saying here. Let's go on to the next one.
Out of course, immediately as fast as we could go and got to the hospital, and in the space of a few seconds. And so we'll I see the ships and
he's thankful to feel the way he does. To feel what way? Prideful. I see what he's something. We can't tell what that is exactly. I am going far. Well, that's very obvious. He's explaining that right there, very clear. I know it, you sap sneaking in the store. He's acting like a child sneaking in the store, and he's a kid. He's he's tricked everybody. And let's be honest, he did an excellent job of tricking and fooling everybody, or most everybody. Let's listen to some more.
Martin, we went from great joy, anticipation, wonderful crowds, wonderful throngs, to great tragedy.
Okay, that's sheriff. Again, sheriff is a metaphor, meaning somebody in a position of authority. Doesn't have to be JFK, it could be anybody, but it's used quite often as a metaphor for that. I took the moment. I took the moment. What does it mean by that? Well, it means he took the opportunity. The sheriff sitting. Oh, now that's even more blatant. John F. Kennedy was assassinated sitting down in the back seat of that Lincoln convertible. Hell, he gave me the freedom. Of course he did. Once he was dead, John Connally had the freedom to rise to even greater power. Let's listen to some more.
I could have been an easy prey for anyone with no security, whatever. So I don't place any stead in this, except I think the man did what he intended to do: shoot both of us. And that's the only thing I can think.
John F. Kennedy, before he dies, according to this, according to Mr. Connally himself, tells him he needs to get out. It's funny. There's a video that shows him with his hand, with a motion to saying basically the same thing, get out. Maybe he's recollecting that moment. So he's saying that the president should himself move out or else develop a relationship from the leader, help he needed, or move out. The leader, wait a minute, you mean there's somebody above the president? Well, that's what he's saying here. He's saying that there is another leader that's above the president, and he should have been listening to, he should have developed a relationship with, and followed the lead of that so-called leader. Do you realize how empowering reverse speech is? Sometimes people that have looked into reverse speech, they look at the example of the man who's running the show, the man who's created a trademark using that term reverse speech, which I kind of question as to whether you can even have a trademark of a common phrase like that. Nevertheless, the fact that he does that throws doubt on the whole thing, and it makes people think that this is just a gimmick to make money. But it's not. You're listening to it right now. I'm showing you the examples. And this is an example that shows that John Connally confessed to being the assassin, the murderer of John F. Kennedy. And he's also confessing that the ambush meant that my gamble worked. And the way it worked is very simple. And if you haven't figured it out by now, you should. Everybody has been looking for an assassin in the grassy knoll, on the school book depository, on the 6th floor of the school book depository, on the Dow Tech building, under the manhole cover, in the drainage ditch, off of the bridge, and a number of other places. But they're not looking in the car. And that is what he's saying here. His gamble of having multiple snipers all over the place, and yet him as the primary assassin worked better than anybody could have imagined until now. There are other people who are saying that John Connally did it. There are those that are saying Jackie did it. The truth of the matter is that everybody in that car was an accessory to the murder of John F. Kennedy. It wasn't any one person that did it. Yes, John Connally was the mastermind. He's the one that gave the kill shot to John F. Kennedy. But he's not the only one. This was a huge conspiracy. And I'm not saying everybody in the government was involved. Obviously, there are other people who are not involved. But it was a huge conspiracy. It was so huge that they had to kill a lot of witnesses after the fact. So, you can do with this whatever you want to do with it. You can sit on it and say, well, I really don't want to get involved with this. You can start to do your own reversals, put your own website up, your own YouTube videos, whatever. You can get the word out. You can tell people about this information. You can share the links to the YouTube videos that I've been putting out. The one thing you shouldn't do is sit on this and do nothing. I would rather you at least become involved. If you think that I'm wrong, well, hey, go for it. Show me that I'm wrong. I could be. I'm certainly wrong about something because I'm not perfect and I don't have all the answers. But at least get involved and do something. Don't allow these criminals wearing tuxedos and nice fine suits to pull the wool over our heads. Do something. Stand up and be counted.